Properties default.
Rivera currently serves as Executive Vice President and President of the North America Zone. He will take on the role of President of Kraft Heinz Company effective immediately. Patricio has served as CEO since 2019 and chair since last year. PennDOT District 11 is announcing bridge inspection activities on westbound I-376 in Green Tree Borough of Allegheny County that will occur Wednesday night, August 16th, weather permitting. Bridge inspection work requiring shoulder and lane restrictions on westbound I-376 over Green Tree Road at the Green Tree interchange will occur from 10 p.m. Wednesday night to 4 a.m. Thursday morning. PennDOT crews will conduct the inspection. Motorists can check conditions on major roadways by visiting 511pa.com.
Here's the Beaver County forecast on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
Cloudy today with possible evening showers and a high of 78 degrees. Mostly cloudy tonight with a low of 65. Mostly cloudy tomorrow with a high of 80. There will be a mix of clouds and sun for your Thursday and a high of 83. Morning showers Friday, followed by partly cloudy skies throughout the remainder of the day and a high of 73 degrees. And then for Saturday, mostly sunny skies and a high of 79 degrees. This newscast is being brought to you by the Village at St. Barnabas, the perfect place for mom. That is a look at the news for now. I'm Matt Durzik for Beaver County Radio News, 95.7 FM, 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming worldwide at beavercountyradio.com.
Falling in love is one thing. Having anxiety about falling is a whole different subject. If you or a family member are concerned about falling, and yes, either up or down the stairs, or maybe even out of bed, St. Barnabas has a special message and some ideas just for you. Years of experience in working with people who are prone to falls has given St. Barnabas special expertise in this area. Call them at 724-443-0700 and learn about ways that you can begin to feel more confident and safe, including suggestions that you can implement right now into your daily routine. Call St. Barnabas at 724-443-0700. For many years now, St. Barnabas has been helping people fall in love, that is, with their new, better life, a longer life, a risk-free life. Call St. Barnabas now at 724-443-0700 or visit stbarnabashealthsystem.com and learn more about living longer and better.
Now, it's time to talk on Teleforum on Beaver County Radio. 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, 99.3 FM, and beavercountyradio.com. And now, here is the host of the show, Eddie Crow.
You better hang on. You better hang on. It's going to go quick today. I absolutely guarantee you it's going to go quick today. And if you want to listen to it, that's great. If you want to watch it, well, that's good too. Please welcome to the program. This first hour is brought to you by Tom Young and First Consultants. It's not necessarily the views of the station. And Tom, how you been, man? You came in already fired up. I love when I get days like this with you. Like, all right, just stay out the way. Tom's here.
Every day there is some new wrinkle that comes along, and my attitude is, what can I do today to be better by? It's just an expectation of growth. I'm a 73-year-old kid that's still chasing dreams.
You think that every day, honestly, truly, don't you?
Absolutely, absolutely. I have challenges. But challenges are the things that we grow by. You can look at a challenge as a problem and, oh, woe is me, or you can look at a problem and say, God wouldn't have given me this if he didn't think I could take care of it, and learn by it.
It's how you approach it. If you make yourself work through it, you do grow by it.
It's called the big A, Eddie.
Wait, I've been called
attitude.
Attitude. I was going a different way.
Every day starts with an attitude adjustment. It has to. Hi, folks. I'm Tom Young. I own First Consultants in Beaver at 1413 3rd Street in Beaver. Phone number 724-728-6820. And I have a very unique approach to the financial world. Yeah. I just believe and prove every day, mathematically and otherwise, most all the advice you get from the financial world is taking your money away from you and makes you broke.
Makes you think you're ahead when you ain't ahead. We were talking about this off the air. You think you're ahead because you ain't behind.
Even if you grow a 401k, and here you are today, and 30 years from now you come back to get your 401k, tell me what the tax rate's going to be. You know, I have the debt numbers with me today. What did I do with them? Here they are.
A bazillion. Are we to a
we're at
bazillion?
$193 trillion unfunded liability. Remember what that is? That's Social Security, Medicare Part A, B, and D, pensions and benefits for all the military and the government employees. I saw a number yesterday. The government, federal government, is the largest employer in the land, and they have 23 million employees.
Really?
U.S. government, 23 million employees. Now, I don't know.
Wow.
We're going to talk about all this stuff today, Eddie.
I would have guessed a big number, but I wouldn't have guessed 23 million.
When I was looking at the numbers last night for the debt and everything, there it was. Federal government employees, 23 point something million employees. So, and the debt is 32.5 last month. It's 32.7 this month. So that's $200 billion, Eddie. Now wait a minute, $200 billion per month times 12 months is $2.4 trillion increase in the debt.
In 1 year.
We average about a $2 trillion increase in the debt.
Okay.
And we're going to be at $33 trillion, and the interest on the debt is now approaching, if not already, $1 trillion per year, just the interest on the debt.
Just to try and keep up on the payment. Just to try and
keep up. And the unfunded liability increased again by $800 billion. So now wait a minute, $200 billion on the debt increase and $800 billion on the unfunded liability.
That's a trillion.
$1 trillion a month.
It's almost as bad as student loans. You can't even keep up on the interest. It's like a credit card from hell.
It is just ludicrous that people continue. Now think about it, Eddie. This debt mess the government's in, and all of the headlines. I'll touch on some of that today. But if you're paying any attention at all to the craziness that's going on out there, and folks, if you like me or not, I don't know. I'm a Trumper. I believe he is the only guy that has the potential to fix the problem that we have today. And I'll share with you in a little while my opinion of all these indictments and all of these things going on right now in our country.
Now, in defense of you,
but they are tearing our country apart.
In defense of you, you have made that statement, made that very clear for people that haven't heard you before. That's
yes,
if people have heard you, they know that.
Anybody that knows me, they know I'm a conservative, and it really isn't Trump. And let me say that I don't like the guy's personality necessarily, and I think a lot of people feel that way. But you got to look at what he did in the 4 years he was there with all of the monster investigations that have now turned out to be absolutely false. It was all a big lie, folks. That all goes back to Hillary Clinton, and I'll go on from there. But, we were talking about the debt, and this debt, remember the politicians make the decisions on how the money gets spent. That makes sense to you? Then they have lobbyists in Washington.
No, it doesn't make sense to me.
Politicians. Now I got to bring up the word politics.
Yeah.
What are politics? What is that word politics? Poly is many. Ticks are blood-sucking insects. I'm sorry, folks.
I'm going to steal that. I'm
fired up today, and we're just going to have fun. We're just going to have fun.
It doesn't make sense, but it's the reality we live in.
Well, the people that created all these problems are the people that are giving you advice, and you're listening. Duh. Step back from that a minute.
Do you ever get frustrated that stupidity exists to such the extent that stupidity's not the right word? You're right.
It's not stupid, Eddie. It's
ignorant?
Uninformed.
Okay.
It's people that are lazy in their research. Let me say it that way. You got to be willing to step up and do some research and not just take what the newspaper said yesterday or necessarily take everything I say here on the radio today. Do some research. You know, there's a program that was signed in 2011, I believe, and it's called NESARA GESARA. You know, NESARA is national, GESARA is global.
Okay.
And this is, in my opinion, Tom's opinion, is a movement back to gold standard currencies. Because where we're at right now, it's going to end. I can promise you that it's going to end somewhere.
I've heard you talk about the Great Reset. Is that what these people are thinking?
This is part of it, Eddie.
Okay.
And you know, I'll just read a couple of points. Zeroes out all credit card, mortgage, and other bank debt due to illegal banking and government activities. Now, what do I mean by that, Tom? Illegal banking and government activities. What's called fractional banking.
Oh, you taught me about that.
95% of all the debt was created from nothing. It was money the Federal Reserve printed from nothing and moved it into the marketplace through this concept called fractional banking that came into being in 1972 when Richard Nixon took us off the gold standard. And I'll talk some more about that in a little while. We don't have a clock in here, Eddie, so I'm trying to look at the time.
There's a clock over there.
Oh, there it is. Oh, okay, it's over there. All right.
Did you notice that they sent us the wrong one and said the date is in European time? they put the month and the day backwards.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm
9/20,
blind.
okay.
I can't read it anyway.
Okay.
Tom,
So,
you can talk as long as you want.
okay. And what this really means is the fractional banking. And let me add a little story. Let's go up to the 30,000-foot view a minute.
Okay.
And in 1968, there was a group formed worldwide called the Club of Rome. Look it up. It's real. It's in my book, The Family Money Farm, the CFO Project. I wrote about all this stuff in that book. So the Club of Rome was a group of the so-called smartest people on the planet. Remember what I said? Smartest people on the planet, Eddie? That have no vision and no insight. Now, why do I say that? Because their mission statement is to look into the future and make a prediction to try to prepare people for what's coming or what's going to happen. Okay?
Yeah, but if you have no insight and no vision, it's tough to look into the future, isn't it?
Well, here was the first thing they did. They predicted that the world was going to run out of crude oil in 1993. And actually, there was a book written called The Great Reckoning of 1993. Look it up. And a guy named Rees-Mogg and Thurman, they were two economists from Europe. And they wrote a book about what was going to happen when we ran out of oil. So it was an interesting read. But that's what that book was. But I guess we didn't run out of oil in 1993, Eddie, did we?
I got gas yesterday.
So did I.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, there's enough oil under the ground for 200 plus more years. So there's no chance we're going to run out other than this idiot we have in the Washington White House right now that wants to turn it all off and think we're all going to fly around. We're going to we're going to exercise our arms, Eddie, and we're going to be able to fly. You're going to put electric wire up your and when you plug it in, it's going to allow you to fly. You're not going to need fossil fuels. And
I'm waiting for you to say wada wada. I'm waiting.
I told you, I'm wound up today.
I'm waiting to hear wada wada bing bang at the end of that.
Bing bang, bada bing, bada bang, bada boom. The Italian method.
I got a completely out of this realm question. You said how old you are. How do you maintain this energy? You're exhausting to watch. And I mean that in the most amazing way. How do you do that?
I have a dream, Eddie. I have a dream in my mind and in my heart to touch people's lives, to change people's lives, to help people just see the potential that lies inside each and every one of us. Each of you has the potential to be whatever you choose to be if you're willing to work for it. If you're willing to change, if you're willing to learn new things, and not just use. When I was a kid, I'd be working on a car in the garage because my nut at that time was working on cars. From when I was 12 years old, working on cars, and I would be doing something. I remember this night. It was like 10, 11 o'clock at night on a Friday night. When I was in high school, I didn't date girls. My wife is the first adult female I ever met, and I ended up marrying her. and because cars was my love. And I remember being in the garage, and I got a 54 Ford. I got a standard transmission that I'm putting in this car. I flipped it over from automatic transmission to a standard transmission, and I'm underneath of the car, and I put a bell housing on it, those of you that understand cars, and a clutch plate, and I misaligned the cone for the plate. You know, if you understand putting a standard transmission in, the cone that goes in the middle that lines the plate up under the pressure plate for the clutch.
It does
if
need
you don't
to
have
be.
that lined up, the transmission ain't going in, Eddie.
No.
Okay? And I'm underneath of the car. I got the transmission on my chest, and blah, 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 blah. And my dad's bedroom is right above where I was in the garage. We had an integral garage in the house. My dad, he come down the steps, I could hear his feet pounding down the steps in his shorts and undershirt. He said, "Get out of there." And he got under there on the creeper and went up and put the transmission in. And he said, never did anything. You either don't want to, okay?
Okay.
Or you're not physically capable. But can't is not an excuse. It just simply means you probably don't want to. You're unwilling to try. So as we live our lives, we have to accept those challenges in life. We have to learn how to be better. We have to learn how to be more than we were yesterday, and we're going to be more tomorrow. And that's the way it's going to be.
And at the end of, now, let me ask you the most important question. After he gave you that piece of advice that has stuck with you however many years, we're talking a lot of years to remember that story that specifically. After he told you that and went under there and out of spite fixed it, he did storm back upstairs and go back to bed, right?
As Paul Harvey would say, and the rest of the story.
Okay.
What caused my dad to come downstairs was I had just took a sledgehammer and busted the windshield out of the car. Because I had an anger problem when I was a young man.
Okay.
And I come out from under that car, and I had a great big ball-peen hammer, and I bam right on the windshield and busted the windshield. So now I had to replace the windshield. So that noise of me hitting the windshield, Dad got awakened.
I'd have come down
the stairs.
And wait, the transmission's the problem, so you're busting out the window.
I had to vent
I
my
understand
anger.
that.
I mean, my arms were hurting. I had dropped it on my chest, and if you understand a standard transmission, right at the very belly of that transmission is a little square stud that how you drain the oil out of the transmission. And that little square stud hit me on the chest too many times, and I got up from under that car. Now, folks, I'm just a human being like everybody else.
Yeah.
But you know, over the years, I have been able to meet people in my life that changed my life by what they said to me, what they showed me, what they helped me learn how to do. And that's my mission, folks. That's really all I hope and pray for every day, that my words and the things that I talk about somehow change you, help you find your resource, help you find the way to the other side.
Tom Young is my guest, talking finances and car repair more afternoons on Telefora.
Beaver County Radio and the Pennsylvania Hot Rod Company are teaming up to present Cruisin' on the Ridge, a series of car cruises during our 75th summer celebration that will be held the third Saturday of every month from 12 to 5 p.m. at the new Beaver County Radio Studios. The third cruise, featuring the music of Boss Stingrays, will be on August 19th at the new studio location of 4301 Dutch Ridge Road in Brighton Township. Beaver County Radio's Solid Gold Saturday host J.D. Merkel will also be spinning tunes in the parking lot. There will be food trucks, prize giveaways, raffles, and a 50-50. Cruisin' the Ridge is being brought to you by Patriot Home Care, Falcone's Moon Township Ford, Circle of Friends, Ambridge Italian Villa, Friendly Federal Credit Union, J&J Spratt Funeral Home, Town Square Restaurant, The Standard Restaurant, T.L. Ferguson Building and Landscaping Supply, Beaver Valley Auto Mall, LaBelle Bridal, Junction Auto, Fisher's Foodland, Al's Corner and Koppel, Wags on 3rd, J. Young Refuse, Dylan McCandless King Coulter and Graham LLC, the Pennsylvania Hot Rod Company, and Beaver County Radio.
You don't have to be headed back to school or have kids or grandkids enrolling in class to still earn something at this time of year. This is Andy Dangle from Freedom United Federal Credit Union. Today's lesson is on reading. If you are thinking about buying a car or recently bought one, make sure you read the fine print on the dealer financing contract. Remember, the dealer's goal is to sell you the car and not necessarily to get you the best interest rate. Keep this simple rule in mind. Check with Freedom United before you write the check. Even if you already purchased a vehicle and the dealer financed it somewhere else, bring your paperwork into Freedom United Federal Credit Union. Refinancing and saving you money is easy and takes just a few minutes. We'll do all the work. After all, this is where the interest is in you. That concludes today's lesson on reading. Visit freedomunitedfcu.com, member NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Do you know a child who struggles to read? If so, the tuition-free brick-and-mortar Provident Charter School West is here to help. The Provident Charter School West in Baden is helping children from 1st grade through 4th learn to overcome dyslexia so they can return to their hometown schools and graduate with their friends. Provident Charter School West meets the needs of children with dyslexia so they can become the inventors and educators of tomorrow. For more information, visit providentcharterschool.org.
Beaver County Radio's news source, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
Good morning. On this Tuesday, August 15th, 2023, the Beaver County weather forecast is calling for cloudy skies throughout the day with possible showers this evening and a high of 78 degrees. We'll go over the full details of your Beaver County weather forecast following this look at news. In western Pennsylvania, communities are continuing to reel from the Norfolk Southern train derailment nearly 6 months ago, but the railroad recently has committed $1 million to aid ongoing recovery efforts in rural communities. Danielle Smith has the details.
The Community Relief Funds of $660,000 was distributed to the rural communities of Darlington Township, and $340,000 went to Lawrence County. Norfolk Southern CEO Alan Shaw says the additional funding brings the railroad's total financial commitment in western Pennsylvania to approximately $8.6 million. He says it's committed to having safer railroads in Pennsylvania and across the country.
We're taking a multi-step approach to improve safety at Norfolk Southern. We understand the important role that Norfolk Southern plays in Pennsylvania. We have 2,600 employees that proudly call Pennsylvania home, and we have about 1,500 customers in Pennsylvania, and we take safety very, very seriously.
The money comes as a key part of the multi-million-dollar commitment Governor Josh Shapiro secured from Norfolk Southern. In the meantime, the Federal Railroad Administration reports there have been 34 rail-related accidents this year throughout Pennsylvania, attributed to a variety of factors. Several recent incidents are getting companies to shape up their safety plans.
Gas prices are trending downward this week in western Pennsylvania, even if the change is rather slender. AAA East Central reports that the average price for a gallon of gas is down 1 cent from last week, from $3.90 to $3.89. The regional average of $3.89 is a 42-cent decrease from this time last year, when gas was averaging $4.31 a gallon. The downward trend is more noticeable in Beaver County, where the average is down 3 cents from $3.81 to $3.78 this week. Elsewhere, the Pittsburgh area holds steady with $3.85 a gallon, while Butler is at a 2-cent increase with an average of $3.91 a gallon. The Newcastle area holds the lowest average in western Pennsylvania this week, clocking in with $3.74 for a gallon of gas on average. Pennsylvania Agriculture Secretary Russell Redding called today for proposals for $500,000 in PA Farm Bill agriculture and youth grants from organizations whose projects are aimed at preparing youth to succeed in Pennsylvania's $132.5 billion agriculture industry. The common sense bipartisan budget Governor Josh Shapiro signed earlier fully funds a fifth year of Ag and Youth grants through the PA Farm Bill. Since 2019, Ag and Youth grants have invested $1.5 billion in 157 projects statewide. More than $150 million in projects and initiatives to grow Pennsylvania's agriculture industry have been funded through the PA Farm Bill to date. The budget continues that momentum, investing another $13.8 million in the PA Farm Bill, continuing support for Pennsylvania's Commission for Agriculture Education Excellence, and supporting youth education and workforce development initiatives, including the largest increase ever in basic K-12 education funding, expanded apprenticeships and career and technology training, and continued work to expand broadband internet access to allow students and employers in rural communities to compete. Grant applications must be submitted online through the PA Department of Community and Economic Development electronic single application. Applications are due by 5 p.m. on September 29th, 2023. Kraft Heinz says CEO Miguel Patricio will become non-executive chair of its board at the start of the new year, with Carlos Abrams Rivera stepping into the top spot at the food products company at that time. Abrams Rivera currently serves as executive vice president and president of the North America Zone. He will take on the role of president of Kraft Heinz Company effective immediately. Patricio has served as CEO since 2019 and chair since last year. PennDOT District 11 is announcing bridge inspection activities on westbound I-376 in Green Tree Borough of Allegheny County that will occur Wednesday night, August 16th, weather permitting. Bridge inspection work requiring shoulder and lane restrictions on westbound I-376 over Green Tree Road at the Green Tree Interchange will occur from 10 p.m. Wednesday night to 4 a.m. Thursday morning. PennDOT crews will conduct the inspection. Motorists can check conditions on major roadways by visiting 511pa.com.
Here's the Beaver County forecast on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
Cloudy today with possible evening showers and a high of 78 degrees. Mostly cloudy tonight with a low of 65. Mostly cloudy tomorrow with a high of 80. There will be a mix of clouds and sun for your Thursday and a high of 83. Morning showers Friday, followed by partly cloudy skies throughout the remainder of the day and a high of 73 degrees. And then for Saturday, mostly sunny skies and a high of 79 degrees. That is a look at the news for now. I'm Matt Durzik for Beaver County Radio News, 95.7 FM, 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming worldwide at beavercountyradio.com.
Talk about what's happening in Beaver County or around the world on Teleforum, 724-843-1888, 724-774-1888. It's Teleforum with Eddie Crow.
There's sometimes that it's really a good idea to turn the mics off and listen to the news. What we just went through, Tom Young and I of First Consultants, I really don't believe that was one of those things because we were going and we weren't arguing.
No.
It was, okay, well, what about this? What about this? And I said this off the air and I'll say it now. Anytime Tom Young shows up, which is once a month, I leave having to do homework. Because you will say something, and I don't know nothing about it, and I go home and I look stuff up. I learned about fractional banking from you. I learned the 4 things that the banks want to do with your money. Every time you come in, I learn stuff.
Absolutely.
Good to see you.
I want to rewind to the beginning of the show, and
Okay.
and I am remiss. You pointed it out to me, and I didn't understand your hand signal. But we want to go back and offer our prayer for today because I do this at every presentation that I make. We pray for everybody in the world that's been touched by this Chinese virus that came from the Wuhan lab. Now, these are now facts. This is not conspiracy theory any longer. These are facts. And the CCP took over the Wuhan lab in 2019. So when all this came about, it was at the hands of the CCP. Fact. So I'm sorry. So our prayers go out for everybody that's had their health maligned. People have lost loved ones, and we pray especially for the loved ones who have been lost. We add our prayers for those in Russia and Ukraine that somehow lightning would strike some of these men in the head and they would find peace in some way and stop the destruction and the killing. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Now, I brought a quote with me. This is George Washington. Truth will ultimately prevail where there are pains to bring it to light. Truth will ultimately prevail
I just stared at
where
you.
there are pains to bring it to light.
It will come out if there is a hassle in it coming out.
Well, the lies are easily believed, Eddie, because they're repeated obtusely, I don't know if that's a word or not. It sounded kind of good, but they are repeated so much.
Actually, it is the perfect word to describe the use of that word in this particular case. So, that's an A+.
My brain's still working, Eddie. My brain's still working. 73. I'll be 74 in September. So I wanted to bring that out. And, the whole point of that I wanted to make today is, folks, I challenge you. Call my office, 724-728-6820. Make an appointment. Come visit for 45 minutes. I'll give you 2 promises up front. I will not ask you to buy anything, and there will not be a second meeting unless you desire it. But give me a 45-minute opportunity to lay out the case for not doing what the financial world is telling you to do. I was on the internet last night, and this is something I looked up a long time ago, and what it was about the government taking over your 401k plan. Now, what'd you say, Tom? The government taking over my 401k plan? Now think about that for a minute. The government has buried us in debt so deep. Okay?
Yeah.
That somewhere down the road, now I always ask people the question, do you think taxes in the future are going to be higher, the same, or lower than they are today, Eddie?
They ain't going to be
lower. And I
lower.
always get the same answer. Everybody agrees taxes are going to be higher. Well, then I ask them a question, are you participating in a 401k? And they say most likely yes.
Yeah.
Do you get a match? Some say yes, some say no. I said, okay, you get a match. Do you put more in than the match? Oh, yeah, I put in all I can put in. Why do you do that? You just told me that you believe the taxes in the future are going to be higher than they are today. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, we got to add the economics to that. Inflation. In 25 years, your dollar will only buy 32 cents worth of goods and services. So in 25 years, you have no access to this money, little or no access, without penalties and taxes along the way to get access to the money. That you told me taxes are going to be higher, so the taxes you save today, you're 40 years old, you have kids in college, kids growing up, and you're probably in the lowest tax bracket today you're ever going to be again. First off, because of your expenses and your lifestyle. And when you get to retirement, kids are all going to be gone. You're going to be empty nesters. Hopefully your mortgage is paid. There's no more tax deductions. So don't you think you're going to be in a higher tax bracket? And that's when you've decided to pay tax on all this money that you put away.
I'm going to put away extra money just to lose more of it later.
Just so I can pay more in tax in the future.
I'm not an economist. That's dumb.
So how can that be? Now, please understand, if you decide not to put money in a 401k, you must have a plan and continue to save money. That's always my fear when I give this advice to people is they lack discipline to save, because I'll get the comment, well, if they don't take it out of my paycheck, I won't save it.
Right.
Well, that's your problem. Then you have another problem that you must solve. Now, I can help you solve that problem by how we save money and how we plan for the future. But it's really that simple, folks. Remember the 4 rules. I want all your money, more ongoing, keep forever, give back as little as possible. And that's their plan to maximize their financial success and their success for their stockholders. And if you look at BlackRock and Vanguard, this is getting scary because they own controlling interest in like 90 to 95% of all the corporations in the world. All this wokeness that's going on right now I believe, Tom's opinion, I believe it's being perpetuated by the CEO. Now, I heard the CEO a week ago from BlackRock talking. And this is exactly what he was saying, that the climate control and all of this stuff is being driven by BlackRock and Vanguard and the people that run those companies because of their huge influence, because they own so much stock in all of these companies.
I want to go back to something you just said and ask you this question. Can self-discipline be taught?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely. It's like right now on my podcast, if you follow my podcasts, I'm on anchor.fm.com. And I'm on there. I try to be on there 3 days a week, and unfortunately, I've been traveling a lot lately. I was on there yesterday, and what I've been talking about is the basics. Tom, how do I save money? I had a couple come in about 5-6 months ago, and they were referred by another client who had done very well, been a client for 25 years. He has no mortgage, no debt. His kids are educated. There's no college loans. And I mean,
he's got it going on.
They did everything that I coached them to do.
Right.
And I love them for it. And at this point in my career, I'm seeing people that have been with me 20, 25, 30 years, and I'm actually seeing the results. You asked me why I stay so positive, Eddie. It's to me, it's the, I don't know how to say it. It makes me feel so warm and fuzzy inside that, God, the advice that I gave people, look at what they were able to do. I didn't do it. They just took the advice and did something with it. And they created something with it. This couple come in to see me, and they told me that a year before, or 5 years before this, they had ended up filing bankruptcy. The household income was $125,000 a year.
Okay, pretty
they had 5
good.
kiddos.
Ooh.
5 kiddos. And here they were 5 years after bankruptcy, and they're worse off now than they were before the bankruptcy. And the bank was ready to foreclose on their house, but they couldn't because they have a government mortgage, an FHA loan. So they're paying some $1,400 a month on a $320,000 balance on a mortgage. That doesn't work, Eddie. The payment, it's not even half of what the payment should be.
If you live to 1,000, you got a shot.
So it's inevitable that they're going to lose their house somewhere in the future, and their lives are going to go upside down. So what I did is I went through my meeting that day, and I said, are you open to a challenge? Because what they said to me, he says, Tom, he says, nobody ever taught us how to save money. That's the exact words that they said to me, Eddie. Nobody ever taught us how to save money.
What was your reaction to that? Because
well,
my reaction would not have...
I sort of look at that, and isn't it true, Eddie? I mean, you've heard my 100-person story. It used to be a 100-man story. Now it's a 100-person story.
Right.
You know, at age 25, they Princeton or one of the big universities did a study, and they met this 100 young people, and they talked about dreams and goals and what their life was going to be like. Yeah. And then they went back to find them 40 years later at age 65.
Right.
1 was rich, 4 were doing pretty good and okay, 5 were still working because they couldn't quit, 36 have died, and 54 of them were totally dependent on somebody or some organization because they couldn't make it on their own. Now, I learned that story 47 years ago. I've been in the financial service business 48 years. It'll be 49 years next March, okay? Mm-hmm. So 48 and a half years that I've been at this. And I remember that 100-person story from 48 years ago. And you know what? It hasn't changed. If you go back to the 80s, when Jimmy Carter was president, inflation went through the roof, interest rates skyrocketed, mortgages were 16% for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. And that was the time when financial planning was born. Now, I believe financial planning was born by the financial world because of all the interest rates and everything. They were able to capture a lot of people's money with the high interest rates. They replaced good insurance policies that were old enough and were paying for themselves, good mutual. I mean, I met people that had policies, life policies, that were dividend-paying mutual policies. The annual dividend was enough to pay the annual premium. They were growing better than any bank account, and people come along and replace them with buy term and invest the difference, universal life insurance to make a commission. It was an absolute, total, and complete ripoff. You want to read about it, get my book, Life Insurance, Will It Pay When I Die? You can send me an email and buy it through me. You can get it at Amazon. It's on the book list. It's called Life Insurance, Will It Pay When I Die? And that book was born out of an article that I wrote. And the title of the article was Widows Die Destitute Because of Loss of Husband's Life Insurance. That was it. And that article went around the world. It was published worldwide. Germany, I mean, it blew me away. So that led to the writing of the book. And again, that book is Life Insurance, Will It Pay When I Die? I have copies. We're going to take a break right now, and I'm going to come back and try to put some perspective in this and the politics, and we'll wind it up with a bang.
I've been scribbling furiously. I have homework. It happens every time when Tom Young comes by. Teleforum Beaver County Radio.
Beaver County High School football has always been known as the best high school football around. And again this year, everybody around the world will get to see and hear the action on Beaver County Radio. Every Friday night throughout the regular season, we will have live coverage of the game of the week with a video stream on the Beaver County Radio Facebook page and YouTube channel, and an audio stream on air at 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and online at beavercountyradio.com and the St. Barnabas Broadcasting app. We'll also have coverage of select games on some Saturdays as well. High school football on Beaver County Radio this season is being brought to you in part by Keystone Wellness Program, Patriot Home Care, the Grand Valley Inn, the Community College of Beaver County, the Beaver County Career and Technology Center, Drug Free Aliquippa, the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority, and Moon Township Ford, among others. So tune in every Friday night right here on Beaver County Radio.
The Coach's Corner returns to Beaver County Radio for a 32nd season starting on Wednesday, August 23rd from 7 to 8 p.m. You can tune into the conversation by turning your radio dial to Beaver County Radio or by clicking the audio streaming apps on your phone or computer. You can also watch the video stream of the show on Facebook Live or on our YouTube channel. The Coach's Corner is being brought to you by Keystone Wellness Program, Patriot Home Care, the Grand Valley Inn, the Community College of Beaver County, the Beaver County Career and Technical Center, Falcone's Moon Township Ford, the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority, St. Barnabas Dental and Dr. Peter J. Montini, Goldberg, Persky and White, Friendly Federal Credit Union, the J&J Spratt Funeral Home, Geneva College, Carver Construction, Freedom United Federal Credit Union, Electric Garage Door Sales in Monaca, Beaver County Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Nissan, and Beaver County Radio. Let's talk football on the Coach's Corner starting August 23rd at 7 right here on Beaver County Radio. Summer is just around the corner. Have your air conditioner serviced and checked by a professional at Burns HVAC in Rochester. They have been serving Allegheny, Beaver, and Butler counties for over 30 years. No worries, they are fully insured and licensed. Whether it's heating, cooling, or even ventilation, Burns HVAC can help. They repair, install, and service all your needs. Burns HVAC is professional and takes pride in their work with efficient and prompt service. For price or service, call Josh at 412-522-0465 or visit BurnsHVACLLC.com to schedule an appointment. Put your house in the cool zone with Burns.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
It's Teleforum. It's the monthly visit. Tom Young comes in once a month, and I'll be honest with you, I have as much fun talking to you as I do with just about anybody on a monthly basis. We don't agree on everything, but it's the beauty of it. You remind me
that's
can
the
agree.
Way the world's supposed to be, Eddie.
We can agree to disagree. Now, a lot of stuff we do agree on, and every time you come in, I go home with a list of notes of, I got to look that up. Tom talked about that. I want to understand that. Love when you come in, whatever it's about. What was it about? The 30,000-foot view is what we were talking about.
Changing people's perspective.
Yeah.
Are we on?
Right now.
Oh, we're on. Okay. I thought you were still waiting.
You were being so polite. I'm like, oh my God, what happened to Tom? Yeah, fire it back up.
But
see, you just proved my point. When we go to commercials, when you're here, the conversation doesn't stop. It just goes through and we just hop back in.
It does. It just flows through. You know, when I look at things and about the confiscation of money, you know, there are things that we have to think about and analyze. Number one is taxes, mortgages, qualified plans, college costs, and capital purchases. Those 5 things everybody deals with. Everybody.
Yes.
Taxes, mortgages, qualified plans, college costs, and capital purchases.
If I switch mortgage with rent, it's the same thing. Okay.
Right. You got to pay to sleep somewhere, Eddie.
Yeah, I need a roof.
That's an old saying, pay to sleep. You got to pay to sleep.
Need a roof.
And doing that. So when I look at those 5 things, I have to sit back. I have to learn the rules of the game. Because if I don't learn the rules of the game, that are driven by not only mathematics, but economics. Example, mortgages. People say that, a 15-year mortgage is better than a 30-year mortgage because look how much interest you're going to save. That's an absolute fact. It's true.
Yes.
However, macroeconomically, it's a lie because a 30-year mortgage is better than a 15-year mortgage because of the tax benefits and the time value of money and what inflation does to the money. Because, a mortgage payment, if I got a mortgage payment today, it's never going to change. It's fixed. It's level for 30 years. My 30th payment, that 360th payment, is going to be like 32 cents on the dollar to the bank.
Okay.
Now, over time, now a 15-year mortgage, I give the bank more money up front.
Okay.
So I'm giving the bank my most valuable money because money gets devalued over time.
Yeah.
I'm giving it my most valuable money, and the tax deductions aren't as good. Now, if I take the difference in the payment between the 15 and the 30-year and just save it, I'll have enough money to pay the 30-year mortgage off in 15 years if I choose to do it.
If you have the discipline to do it.
That's the point. But during that first 15 years, I have created this pile of extra accessible capital, which means I may not have to go to the bank to borrow to buy a vehicle. So it has, and those are macroeconomic rates of return that aren't even in the equation between the 15 and the 30-year mortgage. So you gotta measure with all the pieces of the puzzle, and people are misled and they're not given all the pieces of the puzzle. Okay.
All right.
So in that, I want to. My buddy Leonard Rainier, he has a company called Wealth and Wisdom Institute. You can find it online. And Lenny's been on the board of the Federal Reserve. He's been on the board of 2 or 3 colleges. He's a colleague and a friend. He was a financial advisor for 30 years, and he created this company. And this Monday, he wrote a thing about leverage. All wealth is created by leverage. People that buy real estate don't pay cash, Eddie.
No,
they get a
don't.
mortgage. They put the least amount of money down that they can in this investment real estate, and the rents are expected to pay all the expenses and have some left over. And the leftover money compared to the money you put in could bring you a rate of return of 15, 20, 25, 30% rate of return on your cash invested. That's leverage. Now, putting money into a 401k make the rate of returns higher. People think by putting money in a 401k, the rate of return on the money is higher. No, it's not. It's not any different if you invested it elsewhere. Does paying off your house as fast as you can make the value of your home go up?
No.
No. Does paying off your car as fast as you can make the value of your car go up?
No.
Okay. Why do we do all those things?
Because that commercial late at night with the soothing voice.
Because the bank, the financial world, this is what they're pay it off as quick as you can, stop paying interest and everything else. One last little vignette about Trump and all that's going on. Folks, if you followed Mike Lindell and the Cyber Symposium, if you ever heard of it, but they proved that the 2020 election was actually hacked through the machines, not the ballots. They kept counting ballots. I believe, Tom's opinion, from what I've seen and what I've read and experienced. Now, these indictments against Trump are going to give Trump the ability to bring all of this evidence to the table. Be prepared, folks. This is going to be a nightmare of an explosion that is coming. That's all I've got to say, but give yourself an opportunity to come and see me. My website's firstconsultantsinc.com. There's a wealth of information there. Right on the top of the website is my calendar. Put yourself in as an appointment. Come and see me, 45 minutes. Again, I won't ask you to buy anything. Won't be a second meeting unless you choose it. Eddie, God bless you, my friend. And I just love coming here and doing this. And I hope it changes somebody's life in some way for the positive.
You're welcome here anytime.
Thanks, Eddie.
Open invitation. Love talking to you. Tom Young, First Consultants Teleforum. It's Beaver County Radio. Jeff Boast is next. And the topic that Jeff's going to talk about is going to touch home with you. I promise.
Hi, Ray Barber for the Radio Rehabilitation Institute, just reminding you that through the work of great radio stations like this one and halfway house shows like Radio